All right, what's going on, everyone? This is From Nothing to Something Else. I'm your host, Josh, and today I got my boy, my brother on the show, Dwight Aitkens, man. Thanks for being on this today, man. It's awesome to get you, man, finally.
I'm
How you
excited
doing?
to be here. I'm feeling so blessed and honored to be here. I feel like I need to just get on this level. I'm looking up at you, looking good. Got the camera set up. You look all handsome. I like that shirt.
So I appreciate it, man. I'm just trying to do what I can do when I can do what I can do. You know what I'm saying? You know, as I said, you're my brother. So if people don't know what that means we go back like Cadillac on four flats. That's my saying. That's what I like to tell people. That's how I get down. So, I mean, we made each other on the track. What was that, like third grade, fourth grade?
Fourth grade.
Fourth grade, man, and we've been running with each other in life since. And so, man, just so people understand who you are and who I'm talking to, why don't you go into just telling a little bit about yourself and, you know, where you come from, who you are, you know, just a little background.
Yeah, absolutely. Proud to be here, Josh. Thank you for having me. And I mean, when I look back at this, and for anybody who's listening to this right now, I mean, this friendship, this connection is something that you pray for, that you hope for, that as an adult you have something so true and so real in your life. And I think it really helps me understand my life story of understanding Josh, you and I's connection. You know, like I grew up in one of the same places, right, that you grew up. I grew up in Chico, in Chico, California, but I was born in the Bay Area. So my family met in the Bay, and my dad was from New Orleans. So he was, lived a very different lifestyle than even anything that we can understand. Like South New Orleans in the 60s, 70s is a really different place. And especially for somebody like him who grew up like destitute, super, super poor. And my mom was the different side. She was an Irish, like the family of an Irish immigrant.
Okay.
She became a nurse in the war.
Okay.
They moved to California, and there was just a big Navy community basically in the Bay Area. My dad was living in the Bay Area. My mom was living in the Bay Area. So they had that kind of feeling going when they met. And then they had little me. And then we moved up to Chico when I was just a little guy. Okay. So Chico was my home, like my entire life. You know, like everything, all the differences, trying to understand who I was in the context of Chico, which is a weird dynamic in and of itself.
Man up. All right. And little Dwight came along. You guys are in Chico now. We're running track. We're on the sidelines. And so you being, you know, from a brother from New Orleans and then a mother, you know, Irish. How did that affect you growing up, especially here in Chico, where it's mainly farmland, cows, trees, you know, the country, you know, as we would call it.
Confusing.
Yeah.
Really confusing. Really, really confusing, right? Like, you know, you're trying to figure yourself out. I was trying to figure out what it meant to not have like the same type of family as everybody else, right? It was just me and my mom. Yeah. Let alone figuring out I'm not the same type of person ever. Like, what does that even mean? And then understanding black and white men in the context of this very Republican, like ag, old money, old tradition community that wants to parade itself as this liberal kind of bastion, you know, like it wants to present itself that way because it was marketing to these communities in the Bay Area, right? Like they wanted to attack that. But it, at its core, you know, its foundation absolutely is a confusion for you and I to be. Like it was definitely super confusing.
Dude, I remember growing up, and this was during like football season, even track season, because like I said, we continue to run track in high school, and we'll get to that later point. But I remember going, you know, I'm sure people know the town Paradise now after the campfire, but going up to Paradise, which was about 20 minutes away from Chico, and that town had very minimal black people. I mean, it was to the point where literally where we got off the bus and like the whole school stops. Students didn't know like what to do. Like, yo, how do we interact with these guys?
The bus. We couldn't get off. Like it was like just stay on the bus. We'll come and let you guys know when your race is done or race is ready. Yeah, absolutely different night and day. And told the administrators that's like the Paradise, you know, basically principals are like, no, like this is basically how it is. Like you guys are following just stay in the bus.
Yeah, just stay amongst your team, in the middle of your team or on the bus. Like stay, like it was definitely crazy. So, but now, like I said, going to high school, man. I mean, you were a popular kid. I mean, I did music. I performed at your house parties, which were lit. I mean, they were tight. It was some good times. So you definitely were amongst the popular kids. But once again, very diverse. How did that shape you, or how was that experience in high school, and then on your way out to college? How did that work out for you?
I think that was really important to shape who I became, like especially like in college, and how that because I was able to be like exposed, I guess, to so many different types of people. Go ahead.
Real pause real fast. And before, like I said, when we were in high school too, like the parties were dope, because this is when Chico, California was on the map, like literally on the list of party places to go. Chico, California. Like that's the only way that people knew where this town was, is because it was known for how hard they went into paint every day of the week. So once again, now back to how that experience growing up here with popularity.
Well, and then you have that. You have like your friends' older brothers who are maybe in college when you were in high school, that you at least got that exposure to, or when you were younger, you kind of snuck out. So you had that always flowing, and so we had a backbone. And I think I was always attracted to it. Like it just seemed cool. And I liked to drink. I liked to do other things. It was more I liked to throw the parties. Like that was fun. Or I would obviously get drunk, but it was throwing the parties to me. It just seemed cool. But that was it. Like I loved having free group. I loved having friends that were like in the theater community, or or goss, or like kind of in this group, and jock friends, and then you and I, right? Like our group of people, and all. It really rounded how I definitely saw how I wanted to live my life, like going on, for sure.
Yeah. Now, especially, in Chico. And, I have my specific group of friends. I hung out with my boys, my brothers, my niggas. But like you, I had a well-diverse, group of friends. I could go anywhere, hang out with anyone, welcomed by all, loved by many, hated by a few because I like to talk trash. But either way, I had fun as well. But, being a mixed brother, but also Chico being so minimal in African Americans, did you feel any kind of difference in, because like I said, you were well diverse. You didn't hang out with one specific group. You didn't kick it with me every day. You were, you were all over the place. That's why your parties were so lit. Did you ever feel any kind of heat or pressure to include the black people, or hang out with us more, or party with us more, or anything like that?
Interesting question. I think I saw it more as the opposite of no matter where I stood, because I was a person of mixed race, and there was multiple identities, that like I wasn't, obviously my skin tone, I'm not no one's gonna see an Irish man, right? When I walked in the room, no one was seeing that person. But also, if I'm in a room of just you and I and everybody else, man, I'm not the darkest person in the room either. And so there's a cultural connotation to that too. And so
yellow boy.
It's fucking weird. It's fucking weird. Just like the confusion part, right? Like just individuals existing, and then there's the black community that's really small. And if you're not black enough, then you're not black enough. But you're black though, like you're in it. Are you black enough?
You out here singing songs.
It wasn't like I felt like, oh, I have to include them. It was like, that's, I think the fire was more of like, fuck being told I can only be a part of one or the other groups. It like pissed me off. I think more that's how I felt about it. I was like fueled by it. Like I wanted to be a part of everything, and it was upsetting that I felt like I was like being pulled in so many different directions.
Yeah, no, for sure. Now on the opposite end, fitting in with white America. Now, was there any pressure on being in a room with them and carrying yourself in a way that doesn't negatively affect your black side?
Absolutely, right? That is $1 million question, and that has been a fine line that I've had to figure out. High school, college, professional career. That's a really interesting dynamic. And I've always been around like my partners have always been white women, right? Like, of course, I'm going to be around their families. That's in sports and where we grew up. California is like, 70% of the people are going to be white that you're around. And it is a very weird dynamic of like, how much of yourself do you let out? Like, you can't say certain things in certain conversations. How aggressive about your beliefs do you get? And that's been a interesting dynamic in dance for me too.
Yeah. No, I mean, I definitely felt that growing up, just having to carry yourself a certain way. Through high school, I had I was a little too popular. Freshman and sophomore year, that I had to go back to LA and figure some things out before I came back here, which definitely straightened me out a little bit and put me on the path where I am on today, which is thankful. But carrying that pressure, having that pressure on your back, and like, dude, I can't be a class clown. I can't act up. I can't be angry. I learned the value of carrying yourself in a certain way that it's not going to hinder me in the future. And then that was really just, not acting a fool, which is what I was doing. That's
a great point, how you're carrying yourself and like understanding what that's being received as. You're so right. Like that's a huge part of it. Absolutely.
And lucky for us, we didn't have all this social media. And we didn't. And do you think if we had social media then, especially with how fresh Chico was, we would have survived?
No, I mean, not in the way we would have adapted, because that's an interesting question. We would have probably figured it out, but in the form, no. I think I would have been done in all my sneakiness, all the things that I got away with. Somebody,
all online. Man. Reels of me all day, son. TikTok reels, like, dude, look what he did today. He's in what position? Nah. Which leads me to, I always tell people, because you're very successful, and I don't even think we even tapped into what you do for a living, but we'll just say, as you've seen, you eating good. You eating scrimps and steaks. You doing very well, and I try to be like you, sir. Inspiration for us all. But I always start, before I say that, or after I say that, I tell people, because it's true. You got kicked off the track team. Right, you were an angry ass black kid, and you got kicked off the track team. You cussed everybody out on the track. Picked up one of those metal trash cans, the ones that the R&B groups used to be singing in front of with the fire in those old videos. Picked one of those up, threw it across the field, stormed off, and was never on the track again, which is hard to do because everyone makes the track team. It's like, no, you slow, whatever, man. We'll put you in the 6 heat. So how'd you get through that situation? Because, also, you were one of the top track athletes. We went to state. You were a brilliant athlete. You went to go on and have a great coaching career at Chico State and Butte and things like that, and even run and have a nice collegiate career. But you got kicked off the track team, and being a young black guy in Chico, wasn't a good look, brother. So how did you deal with that then? And versus how you see yourself now, how you deal with things, situations.
I certainly would hope I never deal with anything like that again.
I hope not.
In that manner, the ultimate explosion of how not to handle the situation, but at the same time, that was a part of my journey. I was presented. I self-destructed, right? Like I did something so ridiculous, and then was given the opportunity. Like, what do you do, right? Do you let this just keep spiraling out of control? Do you grab hold of the reins and figure it out, and then try to come back? And I think that gave me that opportunity. But I wouldn't do anything like that again. I will say, in the moment, I felt great. I felt great doing it. It felt.
It looked very liberating. Like you got off whatever you was feeling. You got all of it off your chest. Like you was.
Fuck you. Excuse my
everybody can get it.
F you.
Everybody can get this. And so.
I was mad that day. I was real handle things like that.
You think we all knew you were mad, and that deals with self-care, but You guys are gonna have to wait for that conversation after this next break because, like most people, they don't pay for their Zoom. So we're on the limit right now. But we're gonna come back. I'm gonna see if we can. So now, once again, now tell people a little bit about what you're doing, where you are right now in your life and career.
Yeah, so again, athletics was a big part of my life. And once I finished up coaching, I went into business and I was able to find a lot of success being in sales in one way or another. I started in pharmaceutical sales after I had started a company for myself in energy and ran that for a few years. I got pharmaceuticals, and then I found technology. So tech, software sales. And so I've been remote for the last 7 years, and I sell software, which basically means the companies that I work for usually work with other businesses, and it'll be something that it'll be like a communication tool. So Slack or Microsoft Office, I'm the person that represents the companies talking to each other, and I'm able to work remote, and it's been an absolute blessing. I mean, aside from being able to go into medicine or going into law, it's been pretty much the same level of career trajectory in earning, and it's been something that I wouldn't have been able to imagine walking across that field throwing
for real
trash cans.
To doing big things, very humble once again, and dude, I just admire you so much, man. Just love where you are, and this dude is balling, y'all. He gets the money. He got the dollar bills, but he cheap though, so it's all good. That's why he's where he's at, and he's smart with his money. He has not forgotten where he comes from. Let's just say that. All right.
I was over here counting pennies, dollars over here. I was like, "Where's that extra dollar?"
I need that change.
$3.
It adds up. Gas. That's a whole. That's half a gallon. So
I'm saying
it really is. So I mean, and I always tell people, man. I tell people all the time. Well, most of my kids, because they're the only one who stick around to listen to me long enough for me to say this. But it's not about the opportunities you get, but the ones that you take. And one, you took your skills, and you took your know-how, and you made a career out of it. How do you prioritize that happy balance? Work and life.
I've tried to set really healthy boundaries so that I can understand what drives me most in my career and what is going to make me really find happiness in my life. And that has meant family and adventuring. And for my professional career, it's meant, being able to teach and being able to drive and do the things that I really like in the context of still having a corporate job. Yeah. And so the decisions that I make are definitely weighed really carefully on, like, is this getting me to the next step on driving my happiness or making me feel fulfilled with what I'm doing with my life? And I hope that the decisions I make are, again, like super balanced and thoughtful. But again, they're based off of having like really clear boundaries of like, this is enough work, or all right, I've had enough time playing. I need to get back to get back so I can play. Like I need to work so I can play the way I want to play.
Mm-hmm. And that deals with self-care things. How have you got closer to yourself?
That's a really good question. I mean, the first thing that just comes off the top of my head is just, I think, adventuring, honestly, exploring, adventuring. I've had like a deep love of traveling for a long time. But when my grandmother was passing away, I was 15. And one of the last things that she said to me was to please travel, like to please go. That was her dying wish, if you want to call it. And so from that point forward, actually within a year, our mutual friend TJ, I think I was 14. When I was 15, I took my first trip by myself. It was an international trip to Jamaica to visit TJ.
Nice.
And that, again, solo trip. And that was an adventure. TJ forgot what day I was showing up and was a day late. And so I show up to Negril, Jamaica at 15 years old with a wad of cash in my pocket night with no TJ.
No TJ, man.
That's my first. And I think it's like things like that, got addicted to traveling, and that's how I figured me out. Like,
Yeah.
oh my gosh, you can handle anything. You know, yes, you can get your job, you can do your 10, but like, can you live life? Like, can you survive? And I think that that's always really, really driven me. And so when I think about what makes me want to work, it's like, well, why? You know, I've seen all these different examples around the world of what life can look like and what working looks like, and what does it look like in New York and LA, and what does it look like in hippie communes, and what does it look like for people who live off the land in you know, the middle of nowhere. And I've definitely learned that work is a means to me being happy and living a fulfilled life with my family, you and my beautiful people in my life. Like, that's what brings me happiness. And then if I have to work, I want it to make me feel good. So, you know, like, I want to feel good about it. And I feel so freaking blessed and fortunate that I've worked to put myself in a position to be able to like make what I make, right? Like, to be able to do something that I'm feeling good about, and I can make these decisions and be strategic.
No, that makes sense, dude. And I have found the love of traveling as well, man. With your help, you know, I've been out there checking things off the list. Dude, I've been trying, man. I've been trying to get like you, brother. And seeing different cultures and experience life in a different way is definitely eye-opening and can change life. I know when I was going through my whole find myself situation, you guys gotta listen to some past podcasts to understand that journey. But it was, you know, doing things by myself and trying this out and trying that out and seeing if I like this and seeing if you like that. But within those little trips, you find out more about yourself and you start adding more to your identity. And for me, I was caught up in just, you know, the father thing. You know, I'm just a father, but I'm so much more. And there's so many other people out there that are welcoming and loving and caring that can teach you things and help you grow. And so I think, you know, just going and doing things, whether it's outside the country, outside your city, or within it, you just got to try new things and new experiences. And, you know, that's just meeting people and doing different things. I went to an improv class.
That's the stuff that I'm talking about. Putting yourself into a situation, and you can use the word, and, you know, uncomfortable. It's just doing something new and just taking a shot, a dance class, an improv class, going to I don't know, just a new location that you wouldn't normally be in, trying to strike up a conversation with a stranger. Who knows?
Because you can't do that these days. It's 2022. How dare you speak to me in person? You gotta DM me first. We gotta be friends on TikTok or Instagram first, man.
You gotta get the blue check verification.
His life has money changed life for you as a black man, sir? Pretty much.
Yes, it has changed life for me dramatically, exponentially, in that I don't have to worry about money, like, unless something catastrophic, right? Like really, really, really catastrophic. I do something real, it has to be bad. But that has changed, and that has changed my life dramatically. Now, what I struggle with is you feel like, okay, I've made it to this place, and what's the next? And you want to make more, and then you're kind of in this new phase. And that's it's almost keep making more. You gotta keep making more. It's a very odd feeling, and the most blessed place you can, I mean, gosh, right? Like, that's ridiculous, you know. But I think that's a new place, and I wasn't expecting that. And there's a feeling you think you're gonna get coming from how you and I grew up. This place right here, of like that you're at wealth, right? And you're at the precipice of really growing. And you think it's gonna, like, you're gonna feel like, hell yeah, I got no cares at all. And life is still life, you know, like life's still life. I'm sitting here and I just had surgery yesterday, right? From stepping off of a curb the wrong way.
Because you're old.
You know, and that's life. And as much as you can make it, it's you're humbled. And so that's another thing that I wasn't thinking about, of like, wow, it doesn't matter who you are and what you do, you need to be humbled. And that's why I guess my decisions, right, are weighed by today you can be humbled. So, yes, I'm super fortunate and thankful to be here, but dang, man, I get humbled a lot.
I'm glad you said that, man. I'm glad, because people think the journey to the top, and once you get there, it's like, it's all easy breezy. And, you know, I feel, you know, I mean, there's different levels. Like I said, there's different levels to this. And just like yourself, I got to a different level, but I'm like, dang, I want more. And you get addicted to winning. There's a song by Bliz called "Addicted to Winning." Check it out on YouTube, you guys. You always wanting more, and there's never that. It doesn't satisfy. It doesn't make you whole. It doesn't make you complete. But it does give you the means to keep finding ways to complete yourself and make yourself whole. So, but more money, more problems. Have you experienced more problems just as a black man amongst your black culture? Are there more people asking for? You got more cousins?
Yeah, I think that there's definitely an expectation. I'll flip this. I went out to dinner about 5 years ago with Kamal Bell, who has a TV show on CNN, and just an author I really, really appreciate. Yeah. So I was all excited and starstruck. I'd never been out with a celebrity before.
Yeah.
And the bill comes, and I don't know, there's something in me. I was like, this guy's got a CNN show. And like the thing came out, and then he was with his wife, and his wife's like, like elbowed him. He's like, oh yeah, the wallet shuffle. It's always funny. The wallet's gonna come out. And that feels kind of like, like he definitely taught me something. Like, all right, I got some cousins, but no, it's such a blessing, dude. Like I'm so thankful to be in this position and be here. Like, oh my God, I give the shirt off my back, like there's some little times where you catch yourself like, oh, you're feeling one way. Nah, man, it's only made things easier for me. Let's be honest. I feel super, super thankful.
I mean, I truly say you are my brother's keeper, you know what I mean? And you keep me humble and keep me in place, man. And one of the things that you have told me that has stuck with me when I was going through my journey, finding myself is, it's okay not to be okay. How do you deal with your everyday mental health and your journey of just staying humbled, not getting too far ahead, but staying even keeled?
I mean, it's easy when you catch yourself, like in terms of like when I look and I'll sit and I'll look at myself in the role that I'm in, and I'll look at an org chart and see people that are also African American and what their roles are, and like knowing what they're making. I mean, it's easy to sit and just know, damn, like I'm in a great position. Yeah. But in terms of the stresses, there's the other side of like that's fucked up. Excuse my language. It's fucked up. This is crazy. That I have to have, I obviously had a lot of opportunities present themselves, and I took them, yes, and I worked to get here, but that it's unique. Like that upsets me. That upsets me a lot, that it's still unique. Mm-hmm. And that people that I have a sense of pride about it, but it shouldn't be. Our kids, I pray that Evelyn and Jacob, that it's just because they earned it. Yeah. It's not like people are like, damn, that's amazing, but I feel so proud. Mm-hmm. Absolutely. But yes, you have that opportunity. And I think that has driven me. And I have been fortunate that when I made it to corporate America and I was able to keep going up, I have been so lucky to be surrounded by leadership and management that saw someone with the drive, and whether they just wanted to latch on to the good story or not, they saw someone that, okay, I can put my hat on this person because they're working their ass off. And so I had that too, of like, I had a lot of opportunities there and it was supported well.
My little nugget stuck in my back pocket. It's okay not to be okay. If you have one other thing to tell these knuckleheads out here that they could put in their back pocket for later to help them gain success and happiness in life, what would it be?
I think there's no such thing as failure, and there's no such thing as making the wrong decision. And that you can never be so deep or so far down a pathway, or maybe a decision that you wish you would change, that you can't put the time and the effort to getting to wherever you want to get to. I think that this idea, this self-limiting belief has been taught to us socioeconomically. We can talk about black. It's not black. It can be white. It can be Asian. It can be Mexican, black. We as people who did not grow up with the finances to have this as generational wealth are taught that when you fuck up once, you fuck up forever. When you're like that, or you make a mistake, you are that label that society gave you forever. That is absolutely untrue, and you are the beautiful soul, the genuine, incredible person you are inside. Ain't nobody can tell you who you are. Wow. And that is the self-limiting belief, I hope, and the nugget that I can give of like, it just takes a little bit of patience, the right amount of effort, and the faith in yourself. You can do anything you want.
Dang, that's why you get paid the big bucks right there, man. Dang, is it Sunday? Man, you was preaching, brother. You was preaching it. Man, I appreciate you, man, stepping on the show with me today. Man, we literally went from nothing to something else, as you have. And like again, once again, man, I'm proud of you, brother. Man, and I love you. And once again, everyone, this is Dwight, my man, NIC. Heck yeah, brother. Thank you. Until next time, you guys.